You hear footsteps on cold marble. The sound echoes through a quiet Roman villa as the sun slowly rises over the city. Servants are already awake. Fires are burning in the kitchens. Water splashes inside stone baths. But in a small room near the atrium, a boy stands alone in front of a bronze mirror. He is only 14 years old. His hands tremble as he adjusts the soft silk tunic hanging from his shoulders. The cloth is expensive, far more expensive than anything his family ever owned. But the tunic is not a gift. It is a uniform. 3 years ago, when he was only 11, his father sold him to a slave dealer to pay a mountain of debts. 8,000 silver denarii changed hands in a crowded market. And just like that, the boy's life stopped belonging to him. Now he belongs to a Roman senator. In the world of ancient Rome, boys like him were called concubines. The word might sound gentle to modern ears. It might even sound romantic. But in Rome, it meant something very different. A concubinus was not a companion. He was not a servant. He was property. Roman law did not ask his age. It did not ask his wishes. It did not ask his consent. To the law, he was simply an object that someone had purchased. And his new master expected perfection. Every morning the boy must wake before dawn. His hair must be styled in delicate curls. His skin must be polished smooth. His voice must stay soft. He must move with grace. He must smile when guests arrive. And he must never forget the most important rule of all. He is not a person here. He is an investment. In the wealthy houses of Rome, boys like him were among the most expensive forms of property a man could own. Some senators paid more for a single concubine than for an entire vineyard. Because in Roman society, power was not only shown through gold or land. It was shown through control over human lives. Behind the beautiful villas, the elegant banquets, and the poetry of Rome's greatest writers, there existed a system few people today truly understand. A system where children could be bought, trained, displayed, and eventually discarded when they were no longer useful. This is the story of that system, and the boys who lived inside it. Stay with us till the end for valuable insights. Like, subscribe, and share to support the channel. The first light of morning spreads slowly across the rooftops of Rome. From the hills surrounding the city, smoke rises into the cool air. Bakers open their shops. Merchants begin pulling carts through narrow streets. Soldiers patrol the gates. Rome is waking up. Inside a grand villa on the Aventine Hill, the household slaves have already begun their work. In the kitchen courtyard, cooks prepare bread and olives for the morning meal. Garden slaves trim hedges and sweep fallen leaves from stone paths. Water carriers move quietly through the halls with clay jars balanced on their shoulders. Everyone in the house knows their place. Everyone understands their duty. But in a small chamber near the central atrium, a young boy prepares for a very different role. His name no longer matters. The name his parents gave him has already been forgotten by the household. Here, he is simply called the senator's boy. 3 years ago, his life was very different. His father had been a small merchant in a provincial town along the eastern coast of the empire. They were not rich, but they had food. They had a home. Then one year everything went wrong. Ships carrying the family's goods were destroyed by pirates. Debts began to pile up. Creditors demanded payment. Roman law was very clear about such situations. If a man could not pay what he owed, something else had to take its place. Land could be taken. Animals could be taken. And sometimes, children could be sold. The boy was 11 years old when his father led him to the slave market. Crowds filled the square that morning. Buyers walked slowly between wooden platforms where dealers displayed their human merchandise. Farm laborers, captured soldiers, foreign women, and young boys. The dealer examined the child carefully. He looked at his teeth. He checked the softness of his skin. He asked the boy to walk across the platform so potential buyers could see his posture. The dealer smiled. This one would sell for a very high price. His features were delicate. His voice was still light. His body had not yet begun the changes of adulthood. He was exactly what wealthy Roman men often searched for. The boy remembers the moment his father stopped looking at him. 8,000 silver denarii. That was the price agreed upon. For the dealer, it was a profitable purchase. For the senator who bought him, it was an investment. For the boy, it was the moment his life changed forever. Now, 3 years later, he stands inside a quiet Roman villa preparing for another day. A servant enters the room carrying a small box of cosmetics. Without speaking, the servant places it on the table beside the mirror. Inside are powders, oils, and small tools used for grooming. The boy knows what comes next. Every day begins the same way. His skin must be polished smooth using rough stones. His hair must be styled into careful curls. Dark lines of coal are applied around his eyes to make them appear larger and softer. The process takes hours. And it must be perfect. Because today, like many days before it, the senator will host guests. Important men, powerful men, men who expect entertainment. The boy straightens his silk tunic and takes a slow breath. In this house, beauty is not a gift. It is a requirement. And failure has consequences. The villa grows louder as the morning moves forward. Servants hurry through the halls carrying trays of fruit and wine. The smell of roasted meat drifts from the kitchens. Somewhere in the courtyard, a fountain splashes quietly, its water echoing against the marble walls. In the center of the house lies the atrium, a wide open hall where sunlight pours down from the square opening in the roof. Statues of Roman gods stand between tall columns. Painted scenes of battles and victories cover the walls. Everything here is meant to show power and wealth. The boy steps carefully across the polished floor. Every movement has been practiced, every step measured. His posture must remain straight. His eyes must stay lowered unless he is spoken to. He has learned these rules well. Because in this house, he is not simply a servant. He is something else. The Romans had a word for boys like him, concubinus. Today, many people might hear that word and imagine something gentle. Perhaps a companion, perhaps a lover. But in the world of ancient Rome, the meaning was very different. A concubinus was property. Roman law was clear about this. Slaves did not belong to themselves. They belonged to their masters completely. A farmer owned his ox, a merchant owned his wagon, and a wealthy Roman man owned his slaves. Among those slaves, some were bought for work in fields. Others cooked food or cleaned houses. But a small number were purchased for a very specific purpose. Young boys, beautiful boys, boys who could entertain guests and reflect the wealth of their owners. Roman jurists wrote about this system with cold precision. Legal texts described concubines as a special category of household slave, separate from laborers or servants. They were trained carefully, educated, groomed, and displayed. But the law never forgot one important detail. They were still property. Roman law did not recognize an age of consent for slaves. It did not matter if a child was 12 or 10. or even younger. The master's authority over his slaves was considered absolute. Jurists described this power using a phrase that every Roman citizen understood: Dominica potestas, the power of the master. This power meant the master controlled every part of a slave's life: where they slept, what they ate, what they wore, what they said, even whether they lived or died. Inside the villa, the boy passes a group of kitchen slaves carrying baskets of bread. They glance at him quickly before lowering their eyes again. Among the slaves, his position is strange. He wears silk clothing while they wear rough wool. He eats better food. He sleeps in a cleaner room. To outsiders, it might almost seem like a privilege. But the other slaves know the truth. The silk tunic is not a reward. It is a costume. The boy continues walking until he reaches a smaller chamber near the garden. Inside, an older slave waits for him. The man is responsible for training the senator's concubines. Without speaking, he studies the boy carefully. "Stand straight," the trainer says quietly. The boy adjusts his shoulders. "Lift your chin slightly." He obeys. The man walks around him slowly, examining every detail. He checks the boy's hair. He inspects the folds of the tunic. He studies the lines of kohl around the boy's eyes. Finally, the trainer nods. "You will attend the banquet tonight." The boy feels a small knot tighten in his chest. Banquets are important events in Roman society. Powerful men gather to eat, drink, and discuss politics. They argue about wars, taxes, and the future of the empire. But banquets are not only about conversation. They are also about display. A senator proves his wealth not only through food and wine, but through the beauty of the slaves who serve his guests. And tonight, the boy will be one of those displays. Across the city, hundreds of wealthy Roman households prepare for similar evenings. Behind every elegant dinner party lies the same hidden system. Young slaves trained to entertain, to perform, to obey. The guests will laugh and drink wine. They will admire the beauty of the house. They will praise the host's good taste. But very few of them will think about where the boy came from, or how he arrived here. Because in Rome, everyone understands the same simple truth. Slaves are not people. They are possessions. And possessions exist for one purpose only: to serve the desires of their owners. By midday, the villa has fallen into a strange quiet. The kitchens are still busy. Servants move through the corridors with baskets and clay jars. But in another part of the house, behind a set of painted wooden doors, a different kind of work is happening. This is the training room. Here, the senator's concubines are taught how to behave. The boy enters slowly. The stone floor beneath his bare feet feels cool. Sunlight slips through a narrow window and stretches across the walls. Inside the room are 3 other boys. They are older than him. One looks about 16, another perhaps 17. The last is nearly a man now, his face beginning to show the faint shadow of a beard. They glance at him briefly. No one smiles. Among the concubines, friendship is dangerous, because every boy here knows a simple truth. Only the youngest and most beautiful will receive the master's attention. The older boys are already watching their time fade. At the front of the room stands the trainer again. He is not a cruel man by Roman standards, but he is strict. His job is to turn frightened children into perfect servants of the household. He claps his hands once. "Stand in line." The boys obey immediately. The trainer walks slowly before them, his hands folded behind his back. "Tonight the senator hosts important guests," he says calmly. Men who hold power in this city, you will represent this house. He stops in front of the youngest boy. You will not speak unless spoken to. He moves to the next boy. You will stand still for as long as necessary. Then he turns back to the group, and you will smile. The training begins with movement. Roman banquets are long events. Guests lie on couches while servants bring food and wine for hours. A concubine must move quietly through the room without disturbing conversation. The trainer demonstrates a simple step. 1 foot forward. Pause. Another step. Slow. Graceful. Silent. Again, he says. The boys repeat the motion across the room. If a step is too heavy, the trainer notices. If a posture is wrong, he corrects it. Your shoulders, he tells the youngest boy, gently pressing them back. Relax them. A guest should see calm, not fear. Next comes music. In one corner of the room rests a small wooden instrument called a lyre. The older boy picks it up. His fingers move across the strings carefully, filling the room with soft notes. Music is a skill expected in wealthy Roman homes. A concubine must be able to entertain guests with songs or gentle melodies. The youngest boy has been practicing for months. His hands still shake slightly when he plays. The trainer watches closely. Again, he says. Hours pass like this. Walking, music, speaking. The boys practice simple conversation in Latin and Greek. Wealthy Romans consider education a sign of refinement, even in their slaves. Guests sometimes enjoy testing a concubine's knowledge. Recite the verse, the trainer orders. The boy closes his eyes and begins. He repeats lines of poetry that he memorized weeks ago. Words written by famous Roman poets who described love and beauty. But the boy does not fully understand them. He only knows that he must say them perfectly. A mistake means punishment. Later, the training changes again. The trainer demonstrates how to serve wine at a banquet. The clay jug must be held at the correct angle. The cup must never overflow. And the servant must never interrupt a conversation between guests. Everything is precise. Everything practiced. Because in Roman society, a concubine is not simply a slave. He is part of a performance. The senator's wealth must be visible in every detail. The food, the music, the decorations, and the beauty of the boys serving at the table. As the afternoon fades, the trainer finally dismisses them. The boys leave the room quietly. The youngest pauses in the hallway. Through an open window, he can see the city stretching across the hills of Rome. Thousands of people live out there. Merchants, farmers, children running through the streets. For a moment, he wonders what his life might have been if his father had not sold him that day in the market. But the thought disappears quickly, because inside this villa, dreams are useless things. Here, there is only one goal: to remain valuable, to remain beautiful, and to avoid the moment when the master decides you are no longer worth keeping. As evening approaches, the villa begins to glow with light. Oil lamps are lit along the walls. Their soft flames flicker against painted murals of Roman victories and distant lands. The scent of incense drifts through the halls as servants prepare the house for the night. Tonight is important. The senator is hosting a banquet. In ancient Rome, a banquet is never just a meal. It is a display of power. Wealthy men compete quietly through the luxury of their homes, the quality of their food, and the beauty of the slaves who serve their guests. Everything must be perfect. In a small preparation room near the atrium, the boy stands while two servants finish his grooming. His hair has been curled carefully using heated metal rods. Drops of scented oil are rubbed into the strands, giving them a soft shine. His skin has been polished smooth earlier in the day, and now a thin layer of white powder is brushed across his face to lighten his complexion. The Romans admire pale skin. To them, it suggests refinement and luxury. Dark lines of kohl are placed gently around his eyes. The effect makes him appear younger, more delicate, more valuable. Another servant adjusts the silk tunic hanging from his shoulders. The cloth is thin and soft, far different from the rough wool worn by common slaves. But the tunic is cut in a way that shows the boy's slender frame clearly. That is not an accident. Everything about his appearance has been designed to attract attention. Across the room, the other concubines are being prepared as well. One practices holding a small perfume bottle between his fingers. Another rehearses the careful steps he must take while carrying wine across the dining room. No one speaks. They all understand what is expected tonight. Soon, the first guests arrive. The heavy wooden doors of the villa open, and important men step inside laughing and talking loudly. Their sandals slap against the marble floor as servants rush forward to greet them. These men are senators, merchants, and officials who hold influence across the empire. Some control armies. Others control money. All of them expect to be impressed. They pass through the atrium into the dining hall where long couches have been arranged around a low table. Cushions of red and gold fabric decorate the room. Platters of fruit and roasted meat already wait beside clay jars filled with wine. The senator greets his guests warmly. "Welcome, my friends," he says with a smile. As the men settle onto the couches, the household slaves move quickly into position. Kitchen servants bring the first dishes. Wine carriers follow close behind. And then the concubines enter the room. They walk slowly, exactly as they practiced earlier. One step, pause, another step. Their eyes remain lowered, their movements calm and graceful. The boy feels every pair of eyes in the room turn toward him. He can hear the guests whispering quietly. "Look at that one. How young is he? Beautiful." The comments float through the air as if he is not even present. To the guests, he is part of the evening's entertainment. No different from the musicians or the decorations on the walls. He moves between the couches, pouring wine into silver cups. The scent of roasted lamb and sweet honey cakes fills the hall as more dishes arrive. The men drink and laugh loudly. They discuss politics, military campaigns, and the emperor's latest decisions. Their voices grow louder as the wine flows more freely. Now and then one of them reaches out, stopping a concubine for a closer look. A guest lifts the boy's chin gently with 2 fingers. "Your master has good taste," the man says with a smile. The senator laughs. "I paid a very high price for him." The guests nod approvingly. In Rome, owning beautiful slaves is a sign of success. It shows that a man has enough wealth to purchase not just labor, but luxury. As the night continues, music begins to play. One of the older boys sits beside the wall and lifts a lyre into his hands. Soft notes fill the room while another concubine performs a slow, graceful dance. The guests clap and cheer. Wine spills across the table. The room grows warmer, louder, more chaotic. But the boy continues his duties quietly. Pour wine. Hold perfume bottles. Bring towels when a guest demands them. Hours pass. Finally, the banquet begins to fade. The guests grow tired and the servants start clearing the empty plates. One by one, the visitors leave the villa, laughing as they disappear into the dark Roman streets. The lamps burn lower. The music stops. Silence slowly returns to the house. But for the concubines, the night is not finished yet. Because once the guests are gone, another part of their duty begins. And Roman law makes one thing very clear. A slave never has the right to refuse their master. Years pass quietly inside the villa. In Rome, time moves slowly for slaves. Days repeat themselves again and again. Morning grooming, training, banquets, music, smiles, silence. The boy grows older, though the household tries its best to hide the changes. At 15, he is still admired by guests. His voice remains soft, and his movements still carry the graceful calm that wealthy Romans expect from a concubine. At 16, the trainer begins watching him more carefully. Each morning the grooming rituals grow longer. Servants scrape away the smallest signs of hair with pumice stones. Oils are rubbed into his skin again and again. But nature is patient, and nature always wins. His voice deepens slowly. His shoulders widen. Even the expensive powders and careful hairstyles cannot hide it forever. One evening during a banquet, something unusual happens. A group of guests arrives from another part of the empire. One of them is a senator who has not visited the house before. As the boy pours wine into his cup, the man studies him closely. Then he turns toward the host. "You paid a high price for this one," the guest asks. The senator nods proudly. "Yes, 8,000 denarii." The guest leans back on his couch. "He is handsome," the man says calmly. Then he shrugs. "But not as young as he once was, I imagine." The words are spoken casually, almost kindly, but the boy hears them, and he understands what they mean. In Roman society, youth is everything for a concubine, and once people begin to notice its fading, the end comes quickly. A few months later, the trainer calls the boy into a quiet room near the gardens. The older man does not speak for a long moment. Instead, he studies the young slave carefully. "You have served this house well," the trainer finally says. The boy says nothing. He already knows what is coming. "The senator has decided to sell you." The words fall into the room like stones. In Roman law, the decision is simple. A slave is property, and property can be sold whenever the owner chooses. The trainer sighs softly. "There will be buyers at the market next week." The boy nods slowly. His heart beats faster, but he forces himself to remain calm. Years of training have taught him how to hide his emotions. Inside the villa, nothing belongs to him. Not his clothes, not his room, not even his future. A week later, he stands once again on a wooden platform in the slave market, just like the day his father sold him. But this time, everything is different. He is taller now, his body stronger, his face more mature. The dealers know exactly what that means. He will not sell for 8,000 denarii again. Buyers walk past him slowly, examining the slaves displayed on nearby platforms. Some glance at him briefly, but their attention quickly shifts to another group of boys standing a few meters away. New arrivals. Younger, smaller, their skin untouched by time, their voices still soft with childhood. The crowd gathers around them quickly. The dealer begins shouting prices. The boy watches quietly as the bidding starts. For a moment, he remembers the day he first arrived here. The fear, the confusion, the sound of coins exchanging hands. He wonders if one of those boys will end up inside the same villa, standing in the same mirror, wearing the same silk tunic. Eventually, a man stops in front of the platform. The buyer studies him carefully. "How much?" he asks. The dealer shrugs. 1,200 denarii. The buyer nods. Coins change hands. And just like that, the boy belongs to someone else. For the Roman Empire, this is nothing unusual. Markets like this exist across the entire Mediterranean world. Thousands of slaves are bought and sold every year. Merchants treat it like any other business. To them, it is simply commerce. But behind the marble villas and elegant banquets of Rome lies a truth that history often forgets. The empire's wealth was built not only on armies and roads. It was built on the lives of people who had no power to refuse. Children sold by desperate families. Captives taken in distant wars. Young boys trained to entertain the powerful. Their names rarely survived in history books. Their stories disappeared with time. But their lives were part of the hidden machinery that kept the empire running. And long after Rome's statues crumbled and its palaces fell into ruin, the echoes of those lives remain. Because history is not only the story of emperors and victories. Sometimes, it is also the story of the quiet footsteps of a 14-year-old boy walking across a marble floor, trying to remember the life he once had, before someone decided he was worth 8,000 silver coins. If you enjoy dark, untold history, subscribe because we uncover what others won't.